So let's head into the foundation. Let's talk about the preparations we made for this house, starting with the areas where we want to put blockouts for the drain tile and connections for the utilities coming out of the foundation to save us some time from jackhammering them out later on. Let's go have a look. So just check out the sheer height of these walls. I'm standing on top of the footing right now. And look, they're just towering over me. Well, 9 feet walls on this side. So check out this area here. The framers have again put blockouts for the future use of utilities that will occupy this space, and likely the drainage, water lines, and any electrical conduits would pass through here. So the purpose of this is to create the opening so that you don't have to break the concrete later on with jackhammers and wreck the wall. You just actually strip open the forms to reveal a void that's not been poured in the footing. One more thing I like to do for all my foundations is I like to create a provision for a future plumbing discharge pipe, which will be located in the wall. Now, rather than coring out the hole later in the freshly poured concrete, what I like to do is I like to put in a 6-inch sleeve like this for a 4-inch pipe. Now, there's a couple of benefits of that. When you use a larger diameter sleeve, and just present this 2x4 as a 4-inch pipe, you have the flexibility of movement. The last thing you want to do is have this 4-inch pipe concreted into the wall with no movement at all, right? This gives you at least a flexibility of moving it for slope in case there's any settlement. What you don't want happening is you don't want the wall to take the whole system with it in case there's any kind of settlement. So we'll go through the details on how this 6-inch and 4-inch connection takes place later on when the foundation progresses along a bit further. So with the high walls in place, the next trade coming in are the rebar guys. So what they'll do is they'll follow the structural plans, they'll see what kind of a grid pattern that the engineer has spec'd out. They'll put nails, these large nails through the boards to suspend the grid that they're going to be putting in. They'll tie in their vertical bars, hooks, and everything gets tied together with rebar wire. The work gets inspected by the structural engineer. And once we get the okay, we close up the walls, we get everything all buttoned up, ready for the concrete, get it inspected, and we pour mud. Last thing I want to mention today is this foundation will have windows incorporated into the foundation walls. So at this time, the framers will be marking out lines where they're going to form around for the window openings. And how do they get those elevations? We're going back to the last video. We use surveyor equipment. This shoots one level line across the entire foundation, and from that line we calculate upwards to determine the heights of the windows and the heights of our curbs, heights of all the openings. And that's how we get really precise in getting our measurements done. So now we see the actual working room that we've allowed for ourselves from that first excavation of this area. The wall is on a bit of an angle, giving this side a bit more stability. We still have room to bring our materials in, work, and later on install a drain tile, and still gives us a bit of room to bring materials in and out of the space. Okay, looks like we got our approved for our temporary power pole. It should be about 10 days before we can get connection. In the meantime, we'll be relying on our gas generator to provide the electricity for next week till we finish off the forms, and hopefully by then we get full connection to BC Hydro.